Hi, this is Sandy. In this video, I'm just demonstrating how I made these quick, fun and easy bookmarks using old scraps of watercolor paper. I also used some watercolor paints, some acrylic paint, gesso, random bits of string and some masking tape. These are really fun, quick and easy to make, and I hope you can join me. Hello, today I'm just going to be showing you how I make quick and easy watercolor bookmarks. So I have 3 scraps of paper. It's 300 GSM watercolor paper. It's just paper I have lying around in my stash. I do a lot of work on bigger sheets of paper and then cut things down to size and end up having these odds and ends left over. And I thought I'd show you, as this is a good way of using up paper that you have lying around the house. It's a good way of experimenting with your materials, even kind of like a fun way of swatching your materials just to play around and have some fun. So I have just got these taped down. I've just used masking tape and I've been experimenting before. So this is one I've done previously. I've just used some watercolor paints and some like Mandela stencils. I've also got a piece of string which I've just painted and used it for one of the tassels. So you don't even have to go out and buy, like the tassels for it. You can just use random bits of string that you have lying around the house, really. Just a nice, fun and easy activity to do. So I'm using, to paint these, my set of Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. You can use whatever you have. I've just gone and picked some fun colours that I think are bright and colourful and cheerful. I've got 40 lemon yellow, 35 carmine red, 69 horizon blue and 50 malachite. Just nice summery colours. I'm going to use those. And then I'm going to use one of my Mandela stencils. I've got a few that I liked, various different shapes, and I'm just going to see what I feel like at the time and just use those. And I think I'm going to use black and just position them on randomly and try not to get paint everywhere. So I've grabbed some water. What I'm just going to do is, I'm going to do it cohesively. I'm just going to do them all the same colours and just see what we can get. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to wet the paper. I don't want to put too much down. I'm just going to lightly wet them. So I'm just going to go in randomly and just try and get some interesting bright colours, and hopefully out of this lot we'll get one, hopefully 3 that we like. So I'm just going to mix some of the blues, leave some room for the yellows and the reds. Just want them to bleed through and make some interesting colours. Just want to make it really bright because we're going to go in with black, so that will really tone it down. Just going to add a pop of red. I'll probably try and do it in with the yellow. Just splodging on. Kind of fancy a bit more yellow. Okay, so I'm just going to let those dry and I'll see where we are in a bit and see what we need to do with them. I'm just going to grab some black paint. So I'm going to use a sponge. It's just a normal like craft sponge. They're like little kids ones. You can get them from craft stores. They're really cheap. They're in funny shapes like squares and triangles and hearts and things like that. And I'm just going to get some black paint. I'm just going to be using some Winsor & Newton acrylic. It's just bog standard black paint. I would say you need to make sure that your paint is quite thick when you're doing this because you're working through a stencil. It needs to be thick enough to be able to hold the paint through the stencil, or it can get, messy. I think the first one I'm going to use is this one. I've got my black paint just in there, and I'm going to use it with this sponge. So you want to blop it all on. Make sure your sponge is covered, but not too gloopy. And then I'm going to just place it slightly differently. Maybe like so, half of it's in like that. Make sure it's straight. And try not to get it on the next page. I'm just going to go in and try the next one. Actually, that seems to be getting in the way. Just straight in. Try not to move it. Trying to be careful with the edge, which I already think I've gone over, but that's okay. Okay, so these should be dry enough now. I'm going to take off the tape. What I would advise if you've taped things down like this is to get a heat tool or a hair dryer. I've got this one, it's just a heat tool, rather cheap, or you could just use a hair dryer. But the main thing is, regardless of how tacky or not these tapes are, they can pull the tape off, especially if it's delicate paper or like watercolor paper. So I'm just going to heat the the tape up and just pull it off. So I'm just going to heat them up. Right, this is the fun bit. Let's see how we did. I'd also advise, if you pull away carefully, see, I'm pulling back from it, I'm not just ripping it, we should be good. Still carefully. I'll see how easy it pulls away. I'm not gonna go too mad. I'm just carefully. Yeah, see, this is already cooled down. But can you see, so far, so good. Oh, sorry, the camera keeps trying not to unfocus. Unfocus? Loses focus. So let's pull away. Oh, some of the paints leaked out of that one, but that's okay. We can just cut them down to size, the ones that the paints leaked over. It's not a big deal. There we go. So far so good. So fun pulling the tape off, if it goes well. Yay! Yay! Wow, I'm super happy with those. So what I'm going to do is show you what you can do if you get a little bit of bleed through. Try and paint over that again with a bit of white paint and see if we can make it better. So I'm just going to get some more of the masking tape, but you could probably use a ruler. I'm just going to take that off so it doesn't bleed through. I'm just going to grab some white acrylic paint. And I'm just going to see if we can make that better. It might take a few coats. There we go. Just tidy that up a bit. I'm not being fussy or careful, I'm just... Okay, that's dry. Give that another coat. Oops. It might be slightly different from the paper if this is slightly off-white paper. Carefully. So it's not perfect because it needs a few more coats, but you could do that a couple of times and really tidy it up a bit. So that helps if you've got leaky bits through your edges. I might try a little bit with this one. It's leaked through a little bit there, but I'm not going to bother with the tape. I'll just... very carefully. I'm not going to go overboard, but you get the idea. That's cleared up that mucky little area. So I have one of these. It's a single hole puncher. It's just got one single hole punch. So you just want to roughly figure out where you're putting your hole. It doesn't really matter. So for example, I'm going to put mine about there. Make sure it's central. Punch that in. So that just gives you a little hole. Next I have a ball of string, and I'm just going to get some black gesso, and I'm just going to paint some string to use for the tassels. It's going to be very messy. Good old messy fun. So everything's dry now, just about. These are the bits of string that I painted black. They're pretty dry. I would test them out just before I do it so I don't get black all over the place, which is something I would do. I've learned through trial and error. So I'm just gonna very simply, with the holes we created with the hole punch, I mean you can do this however you like. I'm just gonna thread them through like that. Make sure they're central. Literally just tie a knot loosely so you don't crush the paper. Probably do a little double knot. You can tighten it as you like. I'm just going to cut it to size. I want a bit of length. And as they've been tightened up with gesso, they're quite easy to cut. There we go. It's got a nice little tassel. I mean, you don't have to do this part, you could buy your own. I'm just a cheapskate. Oh, that looks a bit. So there you have your nice little tassels. So that's our bookmarks completed. Just as an afterthought, as we've used watercolour on these and watercolours reactivate even after they've dried, it might be worth considering if that's a problem for you. A sealant, if you wanted to seal these, you could use, or you could laminate them, for example, or I think if you use a wax sealant, so they've got wax sealants such as Dorland's Wax Medium. I think there's another one, Gamblin Cold Wax Medium. You can also get sprays. I think Dale Rowney does a watercolor varnish spray. So that would be something you could use if you wanted to. I'd hate for anyone to try this and, like spill water or coffee or tea or something on their bookmark and then it ruins one of their favorite books or something. So just something to bear in mind. If you get them wet, then they might reactivate. So I just wanted to bring that up just as an afterthought. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video and creating bookmarks with me, and thank you very much for watching and hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks, bye.